Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Live from the Sword Coast podcast. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly dungeon master this evening. Tonight, we are kicking off a brand new campaign, playing a brand new game with a somewhat brand new group of players. What we're going to be playing tonight, as you can see on the screen, is Cubicle 7's newly published 4th edition of the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplaying game. This is the 4th entry in this series of games. The first 2 looked an awful lot alike. The third one was very different and had a lot of fun and unusual dice in it that was not necessarily well received. And this new one is a return to form that should be very familiar with, very familiar to anyone who has played the previous versions of this game and anyone who's visited the old world before. Now, with me to create some heroes tonight are the stars of the Friday night sessions. I'll go the order that you guys logged in. So first up, we have Greg.
Hello, everyone.
And next up, we've got Jeffrey.
Hey, everybody, I'm Jeff. And in honor of the John Wick 3 movie trailer coming out this week,
Yeah,
I am drinking Blanton's bourbon.
Very nice. Very nice.
And last but certainly not least, Dave.
Everybody, I'm Dave. I'm not sure who I'm playing or what I'll be playing, but in honor of having terrible computer problems tonight and delaying us logging in by almost 40 minutes, I'm just going to drink some good old Canadian Crown Royal. I almost said Canadian Club. I don't know what I'm drinking. I've only had one sip, but it's Crown Royal and Slurpee that's too thick for the straw because I'm trying to use a Starbucks cup and save cups. So
You use a Starbucks cup to fill up a Slurpee?
yes, the people at Max are like, "What is that?"
Oh, but it was a hard plastic one. It wasn't like
No, it's a
drank out of
refillable.
it and then filling it up.
Refillable Starbucks cup full of Max Froster and Crown Royal. Thank you, Starbucks.
Outstanding.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. So tonight we're going to be creating, like I said, we're going to be creating characters for this, and we are going to be really leaning in to the random generation component for this. Now, I was going to have my PDF of this open at the same time as well. I've got a very pretty print copy as well. But what I've found is that when I use the PDF or display the PDF while we're streaming, I end up with this weird staggered audio on it. So I'm not going to be doing that. And instead, you'll just have to follow along at home on your own copies. But so first off, let's just talk about everyone's experience with the Warhammer Fantasy setting or previous versions of the game. I will go first. I have owned the fantasy game since the first edition. I didn't play an awful lot of it because we played a lot more D&D than we played that. But I didn't enjoy it enough to the point that my book actually fell apart. I didn't get onto the 2nd edition game, but I did get pretty heavily into the 3rd edition, quite heavily, to the point where Greg actually accused me of selling shit on eBay. Because Greg works at my friendly local gaming store too. But yeah, so I am what you would call a passing fan of the Warhammer setting. I know the broad strokes of the setting, but I really don't know a lot of the the nitty gritty lore in it. I missed 2nd edition pretty much entirely. So that is what my starting point is. Greg, how about you?
Well, as we talked about before, I played the original, 30 years ago? No, it couldn't have been 35 years ago. We played it just in passing, just like you. D&D was our primary game, but at some point, someone who enjoyed the Games Workshop universe decided they wanted to run The Enemy Within, so we played that. And like I said, I remember almost nothing about it. And then probably about 6 months ago or so, we started playing 2nd edition as an alternative to D&D, just some time off. And we played, I don't know, probably for about 3 or 4 months. It was good, but very old school, very like OSR style.
It's bodies hitting the floor.
Yeah, I luckily or unfortunately, I did not play the multitude of dice version.
Okay. Jeff, well, we have played for sure the 3rd edition version for one of the gaming marathons, but have you played Warhammer at all otherwise?
Nope, that is literally it. Almost zero knowledge, but I look forward to getting to know a different universe. I'm always up for new games.
Yes. Dave, how about you? You know anything about the Warhammer Fantasy Role-Playing?
Not the role-playing. I've read a couple of the tie-in books, a couple of the Ulrika books, and a couple others. But other than that, no, I'm totally new to this.
Okay, cool. So, in broad strokes, what one of the ways of understanding this game is that this is sort of a response from European gamers to how North American gamers were seeing like medieval Europe, like where North American game designers were. Most likely did not, couldn't walk down the street and find a castle in their city, or they couldn't, see what medieval fortifications looked like. They didn't see how cramped medieval cities were. They were creating things that were based more on like what they were imagining rather than what they were living in or seeing. Whereas the British creators of this really leaned into the gross and, bloody and really kind of brutal nature of life in medieval Europe in creating this setting. So there are a lot of tropes that you would see in a lot of other fantasy games, like there's elves, there's dwarves, there's halflings, there's ogres, there's goblins and stuff like that, orcs. USA is very Tolkien-esque, whereas it was definitely one of the, if not the first, it was one of the first entries into a distinctly dark fantasy approach, much less you starting off as like epic, sword swinging heroes and stuff like that, and more about you are kind of like desperate everyday people who kind of grow, if they're lucky enough and they avoid some of the horrors of the old world, which is what they called their setting, then you would grow into, perhaps being some kind of champion.
Okay, so we should expect to be shitting in the street.
Yeah,
or if our roles go very bad, cleaning up someone else's shit in the street.
Yeah, there's a very like
I'm tired of cleaning up your shit, Jeff.
There's a kind of like order versus chaos thing going on in the setting as well.
Yeah.
And depending on how much you lean into it, it really is like extremes of both of those end fucking poorly for anybody. You've got witch hunters who will burn, hedge witches at the stake because they think they're, serving the chaos lords or gods, and then you've got the chaos gods who want to corrupt and drive you crazy and whatever. Okay. So but on top of all of that too is this kind of like distinctly British sense of humor as well. Like all the orcs and they all, like when they write their dialogue, they all sound like Cockney hooligans, like football hooligans.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so like it's got a sense of fun about it, but it's and what we'll just do is we'll just see what this particular game, this edition doesn't really lean into that kind of like sense of humor as much, and it's not quite as, it doesn't seem to be quite as suffused and like reveling in the gross that can be found in the world. This is a little bit cleaner, a little bit more of a heroic kind of side, I think.
Okay.
There's still definitely lots of like corruption and stuff like that, but it's not quite as reveling in the 90s, like metal, mutations and shit like that seem to be in the second edition at least. So, but anyway, so the actual setting that we're going to be playing in is one province in what's known as the Empire. The Empire is kind of like the Holy Roman Empire, very much like what the setting for Warhammer Fantasy is, very much kind of like Western Europe around like 14th century-ish, give or take. There's firearms, but they're not super reliable and they're not super deadly. There are like cannons and shit like that as well. The setting of the Empire is basically the Holy Roman Empire.
Yeah.
And that's where like lots of things with E's on the end. It definitely isn't like the high, medieval kind of period. And the characters you'll be playing are a lot more grounded than the characters you would find in like Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder or things like that. The characters you're playing have actual professions. like identifiable things. Like you cannot look on the street and find someone who is a fighter, right? Or who is a cleric. I mean, I guess you could a cleric. But you will have a kind of a clear starting point that your character will have as their first profession. But let's not chat about it anymore. Let's just dive in and start creating characters because we're going to be using the random rolls as well. So first thing we're going to start, guys, is we need to pick your species. So the species available are human, halfling, dwarf, high elf, and wood elf. Now, what you can choose to do is you can choose to roll that, in which case you're going to get 20 extra XP if you stick with whatever you got, or you can just pick one. Oh, Dave's putting on his chainmail. He's getting
ready.
into
Seems like
All
a dangerous kind of adventure, so it calls for a chainmail halberd.
Absolutely.
I've typed /roll 1d100 in the chat, and I am about to press a button.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Jeff is getting it done.
And I'm human.
You're human. Okay. So each of you has a... Oh, Dave, you joined the game now. Hold on. I'll assign your character to you. Here we go. Whoopsies.
D100? Really? D100?
Yep.
Is there a D100 / elf? If I want to be an elf?
If you want to be an elf, you can just pick one of the elves. It's just you don't get the extra XP from it.
Extra XP?
Yeah.
Oh.
You're looking on page 24 is where I'm going. Dave,
Okay, 60 PDF.
Yeah, 64 is human. Greg, do you want to roll or do you want to pick?
Human.
Human as well. Nice.
Surprise.
So
We are a bunch
humans.
of humans who are going to die.
So we got plus 20 XP each
Yeah.
for that roll.
Okay, so the next thing we do, guys, is... Oh, do you do your class and career next? Oh, yeah, geez. All right, so I'm looking on page 30. So that's 30. And you have 3 different options. You can roll... Oh, actually, no, this is great. You actually roll first, and then you choose whether to go on. So why don't we go in the same order? Jeff, why don't you roll yours first?
Sure.
You're human. Here we go.
Roll.
Come on, Ratcatcher.
64.
64.
Page 2.
Oh, you're one off from Ratcatcher.
Wow. I almost
Oh, no, you're not. No, you're not.
No, I'm a river warden.
You're a river warden.
Ooh.
So what you can do is you can choose to keep that and get 50 XP, or you can roll twice more and then choose from those 3 and gain 25 XP.
No, river warden.
River warden. Okay. Dave, you want to go next?
Sure. What the heck?
66 is a
River
woman. So river warden and a river woman. Now these are not dependent on genders. They're just this new edition is a little more woke than previous editions. So riverman, river woman, it's the same thing. So the difference
if you don't
between
like that, you can roll 3. You can roll 2 more times.
So if you accept that one, you get 50 XP, or you can roll 2 more times, and then you get 3 to choose from, and you'll get 25 XP.
So what is all the XP, the extra XP you do for it? Just other than just get you closer to another level, or
No, you'll be able to spend it on like skills and things like that. So the difference. So what a river woman is actually, this is kind of interesting. So the river warden is the guy who like keeps the river safe. The river woman is the one who is a bandit on the river.
No way.
Yeah,
a bandit.
Yeah, basically like a river bandit.
Ah, that sounds like some strife within the group. I like it.
No, it also could be the reason why you guys are adventuring together.
Right. Absolutely.
You think you're trying to keep me on the straight and narrow, and I'm slowly corrupting you.
Dave, you want to accept that and keep 50 XP, or you want to roll 2 more times and see what your options are?
What happens if I roll 2 more times? I don't get the 50 XP?
You
don't
get
get to keep
25
50.
instead.
Yeah, you get 25 XP instead.
Well then, that sounds like I'm gonna give it a try. Let's play this round here.
Nice.
95.
Okay, so 95 is a protagonist. So I think this is the person who fights. It's like a hired warrior. Basically, like if people need you to pick a fight with someone. Protagonists live by their wits. A strong arm for hire. You bully, fight, and maybe even kill for coin.
And you're from the
like
warrior class.
Go ahead and roll one more time.
A lucky goblin I once knew.
28. Advisor. Oh, a courtier. So you got a choice between an advisor, a protagonist, like a thug for hire, or a river woman, like a river-born bandit. Which of those kind of appeals to you most?
I think I'm going to be the protagonist.
Nice. Okay. And Greg, let's see what you got.
Oh,
Here we go. Big money.
oh, helps if I spell roll correctly.
If you open the dice roller, there's a button to always
for the
re-roll
tree
the
roll?
last roll that you saves time.
55.
Ooh.
Fraudulent.
A flagellant.
Wow. Do I even want to look that up? That just sounds
that's
wrong.
awesome. Okay, so
Is
flagellant.
that someone who whips people?
Page 88. Yeah, the flagellant
Probably whips
is
himself.
just when you abandon all hope, your suffering and the righteousness of Sigmar saved you. So the picture of the flagellant is this.
Wow, that is.
Oh my god! Does he have like a really mean-looking, like Tetsubo-looking thing?
It's
How is that in the ranger category?
Yeah, I don't know. You're the craziest ranger that ever lived.
Oh my god! So the flagellant. What does it actually get to do?
I mean, if you don't like it, you can roll 2 more for half the experience.
Yeah, I think you're the zealot, right?
Yeah, basically,
wander
like,
around in the group with the Prophet of Doom.
yeah,
Doom is coming.
Forgiveness does not come easily, only through struggle, pain, and doing Sigmar's will. Flagellants travel the Empire, flogging themselves in penance for their sins and the sins of others. They are determined.
You are Sigmar's version of the monk from Da Vinci Code.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow, how could I pass that up?
Oh, there you go. He likes it. Yeah.
Sweet.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's what randomness is for.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Okay, so the next step then, guys, is to roll characteristics. So if you look on page 33, actually, so for humans, it's the same thing. Each stat is the same. You've got 10 different stats. You're going to roll 2d10 plus 20 for each of them in order. And then after you roll that, you can decide whether to keep them in that order or to rearrange them.
So how do we pull up the character sheet here?
So if you just click on the little like newspaper thing on the right,
And it'll say Greg character.
Oh, there we go.
and you go to character sheet.
Ta-da! That's impressive.
And that should have your info in it. That's great. A flagellant, a protagonist, and a river warden.
Species human.
Species is human, yeah.
And our what we just rolled was our classes, or
your class is so for each of you guys. Let's see here. The flagellant is a ranger for some reason. The protagonist is a warrior, and the river warden is a riverfolk class.
So if you the first method is to roll 2d10 10 times, and they put them in the order of the skills exactly. So here I'll go first. So roll 2d10. And so you do this 10 times. So 1
2d10.
Good start.
That's a solid roll.
2
Jeff. Where's
3
Lucky Goblin now?
4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So
Okay,
those are my numbers in order.
Yeah, and you can add 20 to each of those.
Well, if I'm happy with it, I get 50 XP and keep that.
That's right. Yeah.
So just for reference, the first time, so that would make my weapon skill 3, my ballistic skill 10, my strength 10, my toughness 9, my initiative 7.
Oh, remember adding 20 to those.
No, I know. Agility
Okay.
14, dexterity 17, intelligence 16, willpower 7, and fellowship 9. Let me think. So I could rearrange those.
River
If not-
Warden's abilities seem to be ballistic skill, strength, and fellowship are the things that they sort of the first
which-
bonuses that you'll get.
Which ones, Kev? Sorry.
Weapon skill. These are the things that you can gain. You can level up over the course of play. Weapon skill, ballistic skill. The primary ones are ballistic skill, strength, and fellowship. And then as you gain levels in that career, you can also gain weapon skill, initiative, and intelligence.
Are those your talents?
I'm looking on page 95. No, it's the advancement scheme.
Advancement scheme.
The attributes.
Okay.
So the River Warden's on that. The protagonist.
I'm on the protagonist page. I'm just
Oh,
wondering.
are you?
what
Okay,
your-
great. And then
So there's skills,
Greg,
talents,
you
and
have the flagellant
trappings.
open?
I do.
Okay, great. So you guys are
So-
well ahead of me.
So are you talking about skills, talents, or trappings?
I'm talking about the very top, your attributes.
Your attributes.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
okay.
things that are in gray, like that aren't shaded. Those are the things that you will immediately be able to advance. Those are some of like effectively the kind of like the most important or the things that your career excels at.
Okay, because there's different symbols in there. There's crosses, skulls, crossed.
Yeah, and those are based
Access.
on the what level you get to access them. You can see underneath there, under career path, there are different levels there.
Yeah.
Like River Recruit, then River Warden. I'm looking at a River Warden here. Under Protagonist, there'll be 4 different kind of tiers.
Okay.
The ones that are shaded, you don't get to access those until you hit those tiers or those levels.
Oh, okay. So you have to be. So a river recruit is the first career path option for.
Yeah. So like for yours, for Protagonist, you're start off as a braggart, and you can, when you get advancements to your attributes, you can add it to weapon skill, to toughness, to agility, but you have to wait until you're a protagonist, like 1 level up, to access or to level your intelligence, or I'm sorry, initiative, and then you have to wait to your level 2 to when you're a hitman to add to your ballistic skill, because that's where the skull is.
Yeah.
And then you have to wait till you're an assassin to be able to raise your fellowship. That makes sense?
Assassins and protagonists. I never thought I'd think of those in the same phrase, but I like it.
Yeah, it's an interesting way that they've changed from the earlier editions. Like in first and second edition, you would have like 110 different professions, and you could move between them. But like a lot of the professions were like, mercenary recruit, mercenary sergeant, mercenary captain. And what they've done is just sort of folded many of those separate things into individual categories.
Mm-hmm.
So that each of the different professions that are in here, there's still a shit ton of professions. It's just that each of them have 4 different tiers where you can level up.
And they've all been named differently as opposed to just variations of the one.
Exactly. It's sort of like it's a legacy of the way the game used to be.
But you can still switch careers, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's one of the cool things with the game is that there's an extraordinary amount of flexibility for you to, if you start off as, again, the rat catcher, what do you call it? You could end up becoming a master wizard if you so chose. And if you lived that long.
Yeah.
I've chosen to keep my stats in the order I rolled them.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whew. Who wants to go next then? Greg or Dave?
I'm going to pass.
Okay.
Go ahead, Greg. I want to see how Greg does it.
Okay.
Keen on his Warhammer experience and how it plays into masterful character crafting.
Nice. Oh, nice.
Oh, you're just doing it with the plus 20 on there.
Whew.
Well, you're beating the odds with a 10 so far on every roll.
Mm-hmm.
See, now you've cursed me.
Same team, Jeff. Same team.
No, I'm not cursing them. There's a good rolls.
You know, this is not the same game, but I still do a little bit regret having that NPC Hex Brent's character when he died. That wasn't planned at all.
Those are good rolls. I'd keep those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nothing's really high, but you're right around a really good number for everything.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Nice and level.
Cool. And that means you get an extra 50 XP then too.
So how much have we accumulated so far?
Yeah, you took your initial roll and you took the second one, so
you have 120 if you've just taken everything as rolled.
Okay.
Yep.
And how much is the cost in this version
to level up?
Like when you go to spend your XP, you spend X amount of XP to buy.
Oh, yep. You'll find that on page 43.
Okay.
So what did you get for being human?
20.
20. But I went 3 rolls, so I only got 25 on the class.
Yeah, so I think you're at 95 XP.
Oh, so your first 5 upgrades are 25 XP for characteristics and 10 for skills, and then it progressively gets more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. So roll 2d10 plus 20.
Yeah.
Save some math.
Bunch of times. Let's see how.
See? I learned, Greg. I learned from you. I didn't learn to roll as well.
Hey, that's a little better. That's a lot better.
A little better. Well, we're just going to go up and down like a little cardiograph.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my heartbeat up and down. Oh, leveling out. I might be flatlining.
Hey!
I should probably count how many I'm doing here. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
7.
7.
So 3 more. Nice. Nice.
Okay.
Okay.
So that would be...
So far we've got a flagellant, a river warden, and a bully. As
I'm a braggart, not a bully.
So then under attributes,
yep.
There's a thing that says extra points.
I think this is extra points. Let me see.
So it's after you get past fellowship, it says wounds, fate, resilience, extra points, and movement. I haven't read.
Let me see here. Where are you looking here?
It is under the, like, in the exact same chart where it says attributes table on page 33.
Page 33.
Like where it tells
sorry. I think
you.
Yes. Okay. So this stuff you can record as well. It's your fate, your resilience. The extra points are.
Where are we putting our points for like the different attributes?
They go across on the initial roll, like the first row says initial. So you just go across left to right in the order that you rolled them.
Okay, that
if
row
you want
there?
the full 50 points, yeah.
Okay, I'll just start entering those in. So.
Oh, I see. You start with a base value for fate and resilience, and then have a number of extra points to spread between these two attributes as you see fit.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
So you add. So we have fate of 2 and resilience of 1, and you can have 3 extra points to up either of those.
Mm-hmm. It says here to determine the motivation now, but I think what we'll do is finish the characters and then go back and figure out what motivates them, because at this point we don't really have a full picture of these guys.
Well, fate. If you're fateful, then you rely on luck, and if you're resilient, you rely on sort of your your own personal motivation.
Yeah. Give me a
So
sec.
like, is your character do things of their own will, or do they let things fall where they may, kind of thing?
So
I think
what you can do with your fate. So fate determines another resource that you can spend called fortune, and your resolve determines a resource called resilience.
No, the other way. Your
All the way
resilience.
around. Resilience determines resolve. So what they are is like fortune can be spent to re-roll a failed test, to add +1 success level to a test, or to start at the to act what order you want to act in initiative. So to seize initiative, basically. Resolve can be spent to become immune to a psychology, so like fear or whatever. Ignore all modifiers from critical wounds, or to remove one condition, like if you're prone or if you're stunned or whatever. So resolve is sort of like shaking that stuff off. Fortune is, re-rolling dice and whatnot. And then you can actually burn the resource itself. If you spend fate, you can avoid death. You die another day. You can completely ignore damage from one source. And that's what you get from spending fate. And then spending resilience is you can choose not to mutate, which is helpful. And you can, rather than roll the result of a test, you can choose the number instead. Wow, that's pretty cool. That spends those resources permanently.
Okay.
So that's what fate and resilience kind of do.
Okay. So we've got our attributes, and we're on to the next.
So then you want to fill in fate or resilience. You start with 2 and 1, and you can up them by a total of 3.
So fate or resilience?
Yeah.
To produce our fortune or resolve?
Yes, your fortune is equal to your fate, and your resolve is equal to your resilience.
And you regenerate those like every session, kind of thing.
Yeah, the expendable ones.
Whatever.
I think the expendable ones come back every session. The other ones take when you spend them, they're effectively gone, and you have to either earn them back through. I'm not sure if it's something I can reward or I will.
Right.
GM can reward fate, but it's extreme heroism, bravery, or significance, and regaining resilience is doing something, an act of extreme importance to your motivation, permanently nourishing your soul. Yeah.
What page are you on?
I'm looking on page 171. These are just the rules for fate and resilience.
Okay.
But 33 is where we're getting and then your movement is 4, and that's all you need to record now. I believe it does wounds automatically.
Oh, that's cool.
I didn't change anything, and my wounds now say 9.
Okay. So one of the things that's worth noting on the character sheets at this point too, guys, is the bonuses. So each of the different attributes, you'll get a characteristic bonus, which is equal to your stat. Basically, it's the tens digit of your stat. That comes into play for a lot of different mechanics. So things like your strength your strength bonus will apply to melee attacks. Your toughness will apply to resisting damage. Okay, and how are we doing here? Okay, got you guys in there. So you got Dave, you still got to assign your fate and resilience.
So I up my fate to 4 and my resilience to 2.
Nice. Okay. So one of the things to think of now as well, or just to start thinking of, Jeff, is what your motivation is and what your ambition is. And one of the neat things that the game does is you track sort of like personal motivations, like personal goals that you're working towards, short-term and long-term. And you also have group goals that you guys all share. And then as you reach those things, there's different benefits you'll get. XP, regenerating resources like your resilience. So it's a neat way to it's actually one of the reasons why I thought this would be cool to set up as a more character-driven things, because you guys, by setting out what your ambitions are, is kind of going to guide what the, what the game's going to be about. Once you guys are ready to go on to your species skills and talents, let me know.
Okay, so if I want my character to be less about fate and more about resilience, I put in at least the minimum 2 points in resilience and 1 in fate. Is that correct?
Yes. Do you have to put? I actually don't know if you have to put 1 in each. Let's see here. Yeah, you can put all those extra points into resilience if you want. So you start with 4 and 2, like 2 in fate and 4 in resolve. If you're so inclined, Dave.
And if I'm reading this correct, like when you're looking at your class, the crosses, at least for the flagellant, are the abilities that I can upgrade, physical abilities that I can upgrade in the zealot tier, the base tier. So
yes, that's right.
You check those on your character sheet?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So you guys can do the same as well. If you see on your career description the things that are that don't have any coloring, any bronze, copper, or bronze, gold, or silver in them, you just tick those as being your career or profession stats.
How many additional points can you assign it? I don't quite understand that.
3 in total, as because you're human.
Okay.
So if you're looking at that attribute table on page 33, your fate starts at 2, your resilience starts at 1, and then you have 3 points to spread between them. So you could dump all those into resilience, or you could spread them between the 2 if you like.
Wait, what? So you're saying under my attributes, the 3 that have crosses?
Yes.
Then check them as career things?
Yeah.
And those are the ones we can modify with experience until we unlock the next tier of our path.
So the cross. Okay, yeah, that's what you were talking about earlier.
Right.
So I put a check mark in the box.
Yep.
And you see how, like, the cross, for me at least, it's crossed axes or the tier 2. And then, so when I unlocked that, I could then affect that characteristic.
That's
Okay,
right.
I see. Yeah.
Right. And then the skull, and then eventually the shield.
Yeah, okay.
One neat thing they've put in here too is your different careers will have different social standings. So whether it's brass, silver, or gold, that tells you what social standing your career is. And they also have a number in it too to sort of like, fit who's above what. So the flagellant is brass 0. So definitely going to be invited to some dinner parties.
That's under career tier?
Yeah, your first, let's see here. The protagonist is brass 2 as a braggart. And the river warden is a silver 1. So actually, you're a whole different class from your adventuring companions.
The brass and silver is like your social standing?
Yeah, basically.
Status?
Yeah. So you can think of like
status.
Yeah, brass is kind of like peasantry.
Of course.
The silver would probably be like, there's not really a significant middle class, but like merchants or middle class. Gold is aristocracy.
I love what the brass tier says, though. The description: occupied by peasants and those of the poorest professions, which often require no particular skills. The brass tier also contains many criminals, ne'er-do-wells, and those who don't make any living at all.
Yes.
That sounds just like my character in so many ways.
So after attributes, they want us to pick our motivation?
Yeah. This is and this, I guess, is different from your the ambition, like the goal that you have. And this is something that I think that they've drawn from Cubicle 7's other games. This is something very similar to something from One Ring, where it's just sort of like a catch-all trait that you can, if you've role-played it up and there's your actions fit thematically to it, you can you can regenerate resolve. Like the example they gave here is that Ebba is a rebellious apprentice wizard. She loves to break rules and flaunting her master's authority and poking her nose into the books that are best left undisturbed. She regains resolve whenever she breaks the rules set for her by her superiors. So it's kind of the way that you're choosing to set how you want to role play your character to be able to get that mechanical benefit of getting resolve back. So if there's a way that you're picturing your character's personality kind of playing out, or just the way you kind of want to play that person, just pick that as a one word, you know? The examples they gave there are rebellious, protect the weak, or thrill seeker. So what are you thinking, guys? Do we have, are these characters that are starting to come together in your head as to who these men and women, or men and or women might be?
Yeah, I think that my character's motivation is reputation.
Nice.
Or renown, or something, like something like that.
Okay.
Either of those words.
So he wants to have the big name for himself.
Yeah, he wants to make a name for himself.
Okay, that's awesome. Greg, how about you? How's your flagellant?
Piety.
Nice. That's going to be awesome. And how about you, Dave?
I'm trying to think of the word, but imagine my character like if Robin Hood was a knuckle-dragging thug.
Yes. Well,
he wants to like rob the rich and feed the poor, but not really all that noble or honorable way. Like he'll, beat the shit out of somebody for a couple of coins and then give it to some little kid.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to figure that out here. I'm going to do a little thesaurus action.
Well, I think like thief is really robber.
Hooligan.
Yes, hooligan. Okay. So then that's good. We got your motivations. Then the next thing, guys, is going to be selecting your species, skills, and traits. So if you take a look on page 36 of the core rulebook, under Humans Reiklander, because that's what you guys are, you will find a list of skills. And what you can do is you can choose 3 of those to gain 5 advances each. What an advances is a really unfortunate way of them phrasing it. It just means +1 for each advance. So if, say, you picked a skill that relied on your agility, and if your agility was, say, a 30, you would gain a whatever that skill is would become 35 because you have 5 advances in it. Make sense? Yes? No?
Yep. So
Okay.
we can pick 3 skills and
You get +5 to those.
okay.
Yeah, and then
So
we
just put the advances down in the advanced section, right?
That's right. Yeah, the character sheet. Oh yeah, it does calculate the wounds automatically. That's pretty awesome. I like the look of this sheet too. You know what's interesting? Hold on here.
Wait.
So the characters have different... Oh, no, it's different sections. Oh, that's cool.
Philanthropic?
What's that?
I want to be philanthropic.
You want to be philanthropic?
Yep. A philanthropic thug. He's a philanthropic thug. I'll break someone's knuckles and then give it away. Give away the coin.
You just like the pretty music?
Yeah.
That's great.
I like to go to church, and the only way for me to go to church is to have something to confess and have a few coins for the dish they pass around.
Okay, that sounds great. Okay, so pick. Right. Now take a look at your 3 skills, and then you.
Wait. The skills from our career or our species?
Nope, from page 36. This is from your species.
From your species.
Yes.
Human skills.
Yep. Oh, Humans Reichlanders. You're going to get 3 of them. We'll gain 5 advances, and then 3 others will get 3 advances.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
What are you doing?
So you randomly generate?
I'm counting how many there are.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
12 skills to choose from. So 3 of them you get 5, and 3 of them you get 6, and 6 of them you don't have.
Yeah.
3 of them you get 5.
Yeah, 3 at 5, 3 at 3. And then you'll also be able to pick a talent for yourself.
So if a skill is not listed on the character sheet, do you just use the add?
Yes, that's right.
At the bottom? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think. Oops. Does charm have to be used in a sweet, kind, loving way?
Let's see. The charm. That's talents.
Wait, whoa, where do we put the... So you check it? No, that's if it's a career skill.
You put like a 1 in advance when you pick the skill.
Yeah, but I thought it was 5 or 3.
Yeah,
So
so
you get 3 advancements, but if you put a 1 in advance, I think it adds 1 to your stats. It just ups the total by 1.
yeah, so if you enter a 5 or a 3 in there, then it should add the proper amount.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, so charm it makes people think favorably of you, your opinions, and your proposed actions. So it's basically if you want to influence the behavior of one or more targets. I'm not sure if there is an intimidate.
Yeah, there's intimidate. It's just not a human skill for some reason.
Yeah, allows you to coerce or frighten sentient creatures.
What does cool do?
Cool is basically your resistance against fear or against intimidate.
Okay, intimidate is a career skill. So
yeah, separate thing.
Right, because first these are your human ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Evaluate.
And then we get to roll on the random talent table.
Well, you'll get either doomed, savvy, or suave, and then you also get 3 random talents.
So
it's really poorly phrased, but what it says is, if any talent listing presents a choice, you select 1 talent from the choices given. Any random talents are determined by the random table. If you roll a talent you actually have, you re-roll. So it seems like you get doomed, savvy, or suave. Let me see if there's any. Yeah. So like a dwarves always get magic resistance, night vision, either reader, right, or relentless, resolute or strong-minded, and then sturdy. So for humans, you must get. Oh, maybe it's not. I think you get doomed automatically. What does that do? It seems
I'm
really...
not seeing it in the talent list.
In the PDF?
In the rule book. But I'm looking through the list of talents, and I'm not seeing...
Oh, it's on page 136.
Okay.
I don't see evaluate on the character sheet.
So you have to use that grouped in advanced skills at the bottom and then select the attribute that's appropriate to the skill.
Okay, so what doomed does is it basically you select a dooming, and then if you die in a way that matches your dooming, your next character gains a bonus equal half of the XP of your dead character. So humans get to bank XP as long as you die the way you tell me your character's going to die.
Oh, so you know you're doomed. I'm going to die a certain way. It's terrible. I've seen it in my dreams.
Yeah,
and
you
if it
visited
happens,
it says at the age of 10, a priest of Mor, who's the god of death, called a doomsayer, took you aside to foretell your death in an incense-laden coming-of-age ritual called the Dooming. In conjunction with your DM, come up with a suitable dooming. Should your character die in a fashion that matches your dooming, your next character gains a bonus equal to half the total XP of your dead character accrued during play. So all of you get that lovely trait or talent.
Or you do get it, or you could.
Yeah. No, you automatically get that as a human. You also get a
doomed,
choice.
savvy, or suave. So
That's
is that one or the other?
That's right. and then you get to we'll randomly determine the other 3.
So are we picking one from Doom, Savvy, or Suave?
No, I think it's you get doomed automatically, and then you choose Savvy or Suave.
So they deliberately did not use an Oxford comma there because they want Savvy or Suave to be an option.
Yeah, and they also, what they really should have done is use fucking semicolons. Yeah, to distinguish what these choices are. But what am I going to do? It does seem to be that's the case, though. From looking at the way that like the dwarves work, like otherwise the dwarves would get a choice of magic resistance, night vision, reader right, or relentless, and that doesn't make any sense. So I think all humans get doomed. All humans get a choice of either Savvy or Suave, and then we'll randomly generate your other 3.
So we hit add under talents, and then we type what it is.
Yeah.
So we have doomed,
and
then we'll choose that in the future or when we're rounding out the characters.
Yeah, like we can talk about it between sessions. So basically, guys, what Savvy and Suave do is Savvy gives you +5 to your starting intelligence, and Suave gives +5 to your fellowship. So are you more of a learned character or more of a chatty character? That will determine whether you're Savvy or Suave, and then we'll randomly generate your talents, because I'm sure those will be fun.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go with Suave, I think.
Okay.
So then under my modifier, wait.
So on your talent, put down Suave.
And then under talents, under fellowship, add 5.
That's right, yeah.
Nice.
So did we put it under advancement or modifier?
I think it's just your starting stat. Like it says. Oh,
yeah,
actually,
there's a thing that's under characteristics. One of the rows is called talents. So if you pick
right
Suave, add 5 to fellowship, and if you choose Savvy, add 5 to intelligence.
Perfect.
So the ADV dot in the skills, is that your advancement, like the level?
That's right, yeah.
So if I pick 5 advancement, I put a 5 in there?
I'll pop it open so I can... There you go. Yes. Yeah, so if you got 5 in one of those, you just... Yep.
Click on that. Melee?
Yeah, so your basic... Yeah, I see here. Melee basic, you got 5 in there. There you go.
And then if I want to add one, I go to grouped and advanced skills and hit add?
That's right, yep.
Okay, because then I want to put in evaluate.
Nice. So evaluate.
That's like...
Ooh, determine the value of rare artifacts, unused trade goods, and works of art. That does seem like it.
I'm ready to roll my 3 random talents while Dave is filling his stuff.
Let's see what the first one is.
All right, here we go. So I am 63.
Read right. You are literate.
You know what? I actually saw in the rules that most people cannot read and write in this game.
No, not at all.
So read/write.
So you are literate.
Literate. Here we go. Mm-hmm. Next, I am 51.
No. What? Oh, wow. No wonder you want to make a name for yourself.
And finally, I am 11. Artistic.
Oh. Okay, cool. So the talents, Jeff, are starting on page 132. If you want to see what those actually do, and maybe you can tell us what they do once you look them up. Greg, are you ready to roll your random talents?
Sure.
Awesome. Let's see what we get. 179.
Well, no, I have the numbers separately, right? Well, I'll pick 179.
Okay, 86 is Suave. Ooh, did you get Suave already, or did you pick the other one?
I think I picked Savvy. So.
Oh, nice. So you are Suave.
Ooh, you're both. Cool.
Ooh, night vision.
Interesting.
And
nimble fingered. Interesting. So we'll get you to look at those as well, and then we'll record what they tell us what they do. Dave, how are you going with your skill picks and stuff like that?
I went with melee 5, cool 5, and evaluate 5, and then charm, range bow, and I get a third at 3?
3 at 3.
Okay. I was going to go with, make sure I have charm and cool, yeah, and let's go with gossip. Why not?
Nice. So then you get to pick either savvy or suave, and then we'll randomly generate your other 3 talents.
Okay. So do I have to add those? Because I don't see anything.
Yeah. So what you get a choice of is either under talents, you're going to add that.
So doomed.
Let me open up your character sheet here. Doomed, yep. So that way when I inevitably kill your character, that you will be able to get some extra XP.
And savvy was intelligence, and then suave was
savvy is intelligence, suave is fellowship. So you decide which of those 2 you want to get +5 to.
If I have savvy, do I get to talk like Captain Jack Sparrow the whole time?
You can absolutely talk like Captain Jack Sparrow. So under your intelligence head, under talents, add 5.
Under my intelligence?
Yes, please.
Go ahead, scrolling up here.
That's what you get from savvy.
Under talents, add 5. Okay.
Yeah. Beauty. And then we're going to roll D or percentile dice 3 times, and we'll see what your other 3 talents are.
Okay. That's the 3 random ones we're doing now?
Yep.
All right. No. That I hit up, and it went a whole pile of crap. / roll. There's a whole bunch of script.
32 is linguistics. Oh, you may speak another language.
Yeah, linguistics, baby. That's what this thug does.
And roll again.
Linguistics. I can go that. And
25. Hardy. So you are tough as old shoe leather. Or tough as a nickel steak, like Steve likes to say. And then 43, mimic. That's interesting. So hardy and mimic.
Make fun of people?
Yeah. I think you're more like Rich Little than, an insult comic. Jeff, do you want to tell us about what your talents do?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't really understand artistic, so maybe you can tell me.
Okay, what does
It
it
says
say?
max dexterity bonus, so I'm assuming the max levels I can ever get in this is however high my agility is.
Yes, that's right. Whatever your agility bonus is.
It says tests trade artist. And then it says you have a natural talent for art, able to produce precise sketches with nothing but time and appropriate media. This ability has several in-game uses, ranging from creating wanted posters to sketching accurate journals, and has spot benefits as determined by the GM. Further to this, add trade artist to any career you enter. If it is already in career, you may instead purchase the skill for 5 XP fewer per advance.
That's really cool. So
that means I add trade artist to my River Warden?
Yeah, to your River Warden's list of skills.
Okay.
That's pretty fucking cool. All right, that's interesting. And what's the next one?
Okay, the next one is Noble Blood. And Noble Blood is I'm always considered of higher status than someone of the same level unless they are also Noble Blood.
It's awesome. So you're top
kind of
dog.
like I'm the top silver 1 status that I could be, basically, I'm assuming is what that means.
Yeah.
Sounds fake,
unless
though.
they are also Noble Blood.
That's very cool.
And then we would be considered to be compared as normal.
Mm-hmm. And if your motivation is reputation, I think that your guy is probably fairly self-conscious about it too.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
And then the last one is just read-write. I can read and write. It says it's very rare, and I can read and write any language I can speak.
Cool. So there's an interesting story as to how you became a River Warden then, if you're this educated, artistic, noble-blooded guy who ended up as a River Warden.
Right.
Huh. Greg, how about yours? What do your traits or talents do for you?
Nimble Finger, it looks like it gives me 5 to my base dex.
Oh, sweet.
And Night Vision allows me a bonus in low light settings when I'm making perception tests.
Okay.
And Savvy was the 5 to 5.
Oh, okay, so those were not quite as evocative, but it's still pretty good flat bonuses. And Dave, what do your talents do?
Well, linguistics is kind of interesting for a thug. If I spend a month in a month's exposure to any language, I can count the associated language skill as a basic skill with an intelligence test, which can be attempted once per month. Only works for languages used to frequently communicate with others, so it does not work for a magical language.
Okay, that's cool.
So as I'm traveling, I can pick languages up pretty easily.
Okay.
Hardy gives me a permanent addition to my wounds equal to my toughness bonus.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
If my toughness bonus should increase, then the number of wounds Hardy provides also increases.
That's so you're, again, tough as old shoe leather.
Yeah, not exactly sure how that works yet, but it sounds awesome.
Yep. So wounds are your hit points, effectively. Okay.
And Mimic, that one, which is kind of weird, is an entertainment acting test where accents are important. You have a good ear for accents and dialects and can reproduce them accurately. You may replicate any accent you are exposed to for at least 1 day with an initiative test. This test may be attempted once per day. Once passed, you may always mimic the accent, and locals will believe you to be one of their own. So I can pick up languages and accents.
Yeah, so it's part of your blending in. It's part of your thuggery, you know.
Yeah, I get to blend in with the local thuggery, not just any thuggery.
That's cool.
Well, yeah.
Okay, cool. So and that does make sense. Yeah, you got an ear for languages and accents.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so we got our
which is kind of cool because I took Savvy, which is the intelligence bonus, right? And linguistics is an intelligence test. This is all kind of fitting really nice.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now we're turning to the careers, guys. Each of the careers has 8 skills and 4 talents listed. Allocate 40 advances to the 8 starting skills with no more than 10 allocated to any single skill. And then choose a single talent.
So max 10 per skill, 40 total?
Yep, 40 total. So you could just start in 5 with each of them, or you could spread that around.
Okay. And this would go under advancements again.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
And that's just in skills?
In your career skills, yeah.
Right. So if you already have 5 there and you're adding 5, just put it to 10?
That's right, yeah.
Okay. Not that I'm not stupid in math, but I just want to make sure I'm not messing up the character sheet.
Yeah.
Athletics. Almost need to get a second version of the PDF open so I can hop back and forth.
I like the quote for Flagellant. The end is nigh. Common placard carried by flagellants. So if you're not familiar with the setting, Greg, I know you are. You know who Sigmar is, but for Jeff and Dave and any folks listening at home, Sigmar is effectively like the god of the Empire. He's the guy who founded the Empire thousands of years ago or however long ago and ascended to godhood afterwards. So it's like a flagellant is someone who worships the imperial faith to such a degree that they, scour or scourge their flesh. And actually, while you're on your sheet there too, guys, you can record your trappings, like the starting. That's basically your starting equipment, and then you'll get more than just that. But that is the stuff you get specifically from your profession.
So that career tier that was my bronze 1, or is that my status?
Your status, like brass 1 or brass 2, I think is yours.
Brass 2, that's status. Okay,
that's your status. Yeah.
Hair unkept.
Yeah, I love the I honestly I love the art in here in general, but like the illustration for the protagonist is pretty funny. Yep.
Do you know who you're messing with?
My favorite is the duelist. The duelist is this fucking badass looking dwarf with 2 pistols. Okay, and let's see here. What's the so after we select that? Then you get the rest of your trappings. So what was that, Dave?
Melee basic. I read it, but I didn't quite understand it. Is that like the start of a chain, or is that just for anything? Because it's got like 10 different melees below it.
Oh, no. A basic weapon is kind of like a... I'm going to look it up to make sure I've got this right, but in previous editions, a basic weapon is just basically a catch-all, like sword, club, mace, something that doesn't require a specific different set of rules.
Okay.
So as opposed to like great weapon, or let me make sure that's the case, though. I don't want to lead you astray.
Oh, wait, is this where I have a new skill that could be trade artist?
Yes, that's right. So the melee skill represents specific training. Each melee specialization indicates training in using a specific class of weapons. So the specializations include basic, brawling, cavalry, fencing, flail, parry, polearm, two-handed, and that is just the types of weapons.
Okay.
Which are found on page 294, if you want to see what the different categories are. Okay. Are the decisions for the talents, are they easy, guys, or is it tough to pick one from the other ones, or what are you thinking?
I'm still figuring out my skills.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, it's a minute to put all these points in.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm adding trade artist at 5.
Mm-hmm.
Athletics at 3. Dodge at 10.
Yeah, if you want to be in melee combat, that's not a bad skill to have.
Endurance at 3. Melee basic. I already had 3 from being human, and I'm adding 6 more to make it a 9. Perception at 10. And then rowing, sailing, and swimming all at 1.
And that is why, because you need at least one for those to not be a penalty of some kind, or
No, I don't see him like as actually like rowing the boat or sailing the boat. So,
It's beneath him.
Yeah, you're not going to be famous for rowing the boat well.
right?
Like, come on.
I'm.
And then, hey, I can still swim. Okay, and then I have to choose strong swimmer, strong back, very strong, or waterman.
Mm-hmm.
Let me write those down and go look what they do.
Greg, how's your process going?
I picked dodge, endurance, intimidate,
Nice,
and flail.
Of course. Whack shit with flail, I think, is one of the key abilities for flagellants.
To go with my talent of berserk charge.
Nice. That's going to be awesome.
I went with a little athletics and melee to add to the melee I already had for basic, but I also put in some melee brawl because he's going to be into knuckle fighting every once in a while.
Yep.
Some endurance, dodge, and haggle. And I think I'm going to go with intimidate to round it out.
Nice. Now, also, just as a reminder, make sure you're recording your trappings from your profession, and then your type of profession will give you a bunch of other trappings as well.
Right. Okay, just wait. We're just on talents.
So I'm assuming that this works the same as the older versions in that you have to acquire the trappings of your next tier in addition to experience to move up, right?
Yeah, that's what the rules as written are, but we'll see how it goes in play. That was one thing that always seemed weird to me, that like in the real world, you'll be showing up like, whoa, hold on, where's your mace? Well, but I've got a sword. I'm sorry. You're going to have to come back and apply another day.
That's right. When you want to be the road warden, if you don't have a horse, you can't walk up and down the roads.
That does make a little more sense.
And you pick one talent from your list?
You pick one from the list, yes.
I took a little off dodge and added some perception because, I got to look behind me a little once in a while.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Talents.
Okay, I'm going to choose very strong because the other ones all make me good at swimming, sailing, or rowing. I don't want that shit.
So I take it that the choice to become a river warden was not a voluntary one.
Well, maybe he didn't get into it for the actual voting part of it. It did say that artistic talent is also like drawing wanted posters and stuff. So maybe I'm brought in to go after some of their more high profile, help them track down their high profile people they're after.
Okay.
Like bring in the tough criminals, not sail the boat and stop petty crime.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so who you selected your talent, Jeff? You've done that too, Greg. You guys can record. If you go to page 37, that has the other trappings that you get.
Okay, hold on.
So yours, Greg, you get the Ranger one, and Jeff, you get the Riverfolk one.
Menacing? Menacing sounds like it just might be a great fit.
Nice.
Problem with wearing chainmail is when you got an itch underneath, you can't just scratch yourself because it doesn't do anything. Like sitting here trying to scratch my shoulder, and it's not working.
You're not rolling the armor class?
No, I'm not getting
a miss.
armor.
A miss.
Oh,
that's funny. Okay.
What's an SL bonus equal to your level of menacing?
Success level.
Success level bonus. So if I have...
Yeah, so when you're rolling... The way that tests work in this, guys, is you roll your percentile and you want to roll your number of your skill or trait or whatever else or less. You take a look at the tens digit, and then however much that's below the stat, then that's what your success level is. I'm not sure if it actually automatically calculates that on the sheet. So let's take a look here. I'm going to make a... Can I make a roll? Yeah, let's see here. Boom. Modifier. Boom. Hey, look at that. It automatically calculates it. Sorry, Greg, I made your your first roll was a failure.
So
I blame the DM.
Yeah, that success level is for every 10 you exceed your thing by.
Trappings?
Yeah, and then what you can do as well is you can spend fortune to adjust the success level, or you can spend resilience to automatically get whatever success level you want. So there are ways to mitigate that a little bit. Okay. All right. So then, how are we doing in terms of the Dave? You're selecting your talent. Did you go with menacing?
No, I'm just looking at Warrior Born. Permanent +5 bonus to your starting WS characteristic.
What's your weapon skill?
My weapon skill is currently at a 25.
So if you want to be a melee character, that wouldn't be a terrible choice.
That would be pretty good. Okay. And is weapon skill also used for brawling?
Yeah, like weapon skill is your base ability to fight with melee stuff.
Okay.
And then your skills.
I'm going to go with Warrior Born.
Okay. And then you're just going to need to record your trappings, guys. And then we will do name. Oh, no, then you got to roll your starting wealth. So those of you who are brass start at 2d10 per status level, which I think actually for you, Greg, this is 0. So you are a mendicant. Jeff, you are silver 1 or silver 2?
Silver 1.
Silver 1. So you're going to roll actually 1d10 silver shillings. And Dave, you're going to roll 4d10 brass pennies. That's how many you start with.
Woo! Rocking it.
Nice. 29 pennies.
29 pennies. That is awesome.
You are, and you can use that to purchase more stuff if you want.
Beyond the trappings?
Yeah, beyond the trappings.
Okay. And the
Same thing for
trappings
you,
are
Jeff.
listed on.
So what? I have one
mask,
d10
knuckle
silver.
duster.
Yes.
Oh.
And you're starting trapping, so you'll get some from your specific profession and then some from your class.
Knuckle dusters?
That was ridiculously terrible.
Oh, 2.
Where do you put your trappings in?
So the trappings for the, let's see, where is he?
Okay. Whoa. So then we add details.
You got a hood or mask. Ooh,
Ooh.
exciting.
And a leather jacket, knuckle dusters.
Yeah. And then you'll also get from page 37, your class is warrior, so you'll also get clothing, a hand weapon, a dagger, and a pouch.
Where do I write this stuff down, though?
I
Scrolling down here, trappings. Okay, add?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Hood. Ooh.
Nice. Okay. Then we will be adding details to your character. Which, I mean, obviously important is name. You know, one thing that I would do next time to do it over again is I would check the name beforehand. I kind of like that Traveler does that, to think that like you're meeting that character and you know that character's name already. I think I like that better than finding it at the end.
Oh, you don't pick your name?
No. In Traveler, you pick your name, but like you pick a name before you go through the life. It's similar to this where you're kind of generating their life path.
Okay.
But it feels, I don't know, like it feels like you get a better connection to the character knowing what their name is from the outset and learning what their backstory is, rather than like going through the whole thing and then picking it at the end.
Right.
That way you know the name of your dude who died in character generation of Traveler.
Yes.
Okay.
Did you see the in the companion they brought that back as an option?
Yeah.
Like who would play that?
I totally want to order my Traveler, my character died in during character creation shirt.
So where did you say they get extra equipment from their class or something?
Yeah, the class on page 37.
Page 37. Trappings. There we go. Class trappings.
Yeah, and as I said, a hand weapon is just, you know, like a longsword or a, you know, club or it'll do the same or have the same mechanics as anything else. It's what you describe it, and that's kind of, you know, can come up in the role playing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could, you know, hammer a nail with a flail or with a mace rather, or a warhammer, but you probably, you know, couldn't chop a rope with it, whereas like you could with the sword, but the sword may have other limitations. Or an axe. Okay. Either while Dave's working on that, Jeff or Greg, do you guys have names for your characters yet?
I don't know. The Reichlanders are generally German, right?
Oh yeah, very
Very much so.
So actually, you know, those will be, any of those will be appropriate. You can also, if anyone's got access to the, what is it, Xanathar's Guide, that's got a good big list of German names in it too.
German name generator on Google.
There you go. And they're all Adolf.
Matthias.
Yeah, the Empire, like I said, the Empire is basically the Holy Roman Empire. So you're going to be encountering a lot of guys with German-sounding names and girls.
I'm going to go with Werner.
Werner, nice.
I don't know about a family name. I don't know if Kev, if you want to create that later.
Oh yeah, we because you're
means something.
Yeah, because you're part of a noble. Let me think about it, because there's actually some cool noble groups. There's some noble families near the. You're going to be starting in the city of Ubersreich, I believe, and that's got some cool noble families that have some interesting story possibilities with it.
So, what does career path mean?
Career path is what you're going to be advancing down. Is it on your character sheet?
Yeah, under career.
Yep.
Oh, is that like River Recruit?
Yeah, like if you either go up in your starting career or you switch to something new.
Oh.
Because remember, you can choose like if at a certain point you decide you want to do something different, your character could become, a witch hunter or a boatman or a mystic.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I am 1d10 plus 15 years old?
Yep. How about you, Greg? Got a name for your guy?
Earhart.
Earhart, nice. Is it Gerhart or Earhart?
Earhart.
Nice. And Dave, you got a name for your guy?
Yep. Harry Radar.
Harry Radar, nice. Okay, so you guys should be able to change your characters' names, I think.
Yep.
Gerhard. Okay, hold on. Let me make sure that's changing here.
I am 4'9" plus 2d10 tall.
Oh, it did automatically change. Awesome. Okay. Oops. Let's close them off. Awesome.
So from the trappings that we get from our class and our career,
yep.
We then can plot in a weapon.
Well, the hand weapon is the mechanics will be the same. As I said, like the mechanics for a hand weapon they're all going to be the same, whether you call it a mace or a sword or hammer or an axe or whatever. It's just it adds to the way it'll play out in the role playing will be determined by what you've picked. So if you've got an axe, you could probably cut down a tree with it. You couldn't do that with a sword, but you could cut a rope pretty easily with an axe, or with a sword that you couldn't with like a warhammer.
Right. So I picked cudgel.
Yep, that's fine.
And then I also get a dagger from my class. So
perfect.
A hand weapon and a dagger.
Yep, perfect. And then you should be able to add the stats for them as well. Let's see here. Under where's your weapons? Yeah, under weapons, if you're adding them, the weapon stats are on page 294. Oh, I love that there's the hit table right on the character sheet too, like the hit positions. Hit positions. The what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for here? Target locations. Who's testing there?
Range reach.
Oh, and it automatically displays the hit location too. That is cool. You see in the chat, guys?
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, that's really great.
Damage plus SB plus 4. Is that what I write into the
strength bonus?
Strength bonus plus 4?
Yeah, so whatever your strength bonus is.
Okay, I'm scrolling up. That's just the S column?
It'll be the S, yeah, the bonus is, it's basically the tens digit of your stat. So like if your strength is a 32, your strength bonus is a 3. If your strength is a 22, its strength bonus is a 2.
Yeah, so my S is a 27, and it's giving me initial modifier and current modifier is 2.
Yes, the bonus is a 2.
Right, okay. So strength +4 for the hand weapon.
Yep, so it'll be 6 is in total. I don't know what it looks like on the actual sheet. Let's see.
And the dagger is 4. Qualities.
Well, that's great. Yeah, this is going to make it really easy to make use of all those cool types of things that we don't actually use in games most times, like hit locations.
Okay,
So I am 20 years old. I am 6'1". I have golden brown hair and pale gray eyes.
You guy is quite the Aryan. And your character, you're Werner, right?
Yeah, Werner.
Do you think he shares his noble background with people? Is that something he relies on quite a bit, or is it something he, is he more of the black sheep so they don't talk about him?
I don't think he uses it all the time. I think he would bring it up when it's relevant. Like he would use it as like a one-upman, right? Like, basically when it would succeed in putting his rank above someone else, essentially.
Okay.
Like a chip, he would play it, like.
Mm-hmm.
But he wouldn't, be telling people all the time. He tries to not trade on the family name. He wants to make a name for himself.
Okay. What about Gerhardt? How did Gerhardt fall into this whole flagellant gig? Is it someone...
He's going to have to redeem himself for something he's done in the past.
Love it. He done fucked up.
So these are his ambitions you're working on now?
I was talking about let's see, get a sense of the characters, and hopefully that'll help with the ambitions and the...
So since I have no money, and I started with 1 day's worth of rations, my short-term goal is food.
Yes, dinner.
and my personal long-term goal is to redeem myself for something I've done in the past.
Okay, cool. Dave, what about you? How did your guy always been a thug? Kind of work his way up from the streets, or what? Or did he fall into that?
Brown-haired, brown-eyed, not quite seen as the noble race, so he's been kind of cast out by other people and doesn't like most of the nobility.
Well, as a brass too, that's it would be unlikely you would ever be around them to be able to have them draw an impression of you one way or the other. But
nope, only see the shit from their horses on my boot.
Yep.
So when we're filling out our weapons and so forth, do we have to add our strength bonus and the base damage of the weapon ourselves, or does it?
I think so. Let me see here. Let's give a roll for. Okay, so the cudgel is a 6. Let's see here. Boom. No modifier. Boom. Damage 6. One. Let's see if it's 6 each time. Oops, shit, wrong thing.
Do I have to do like a D6 or something?
No, what it does is it adds the success level is added to it, but it doesn't calculate that yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, so the damage is so Greg, it's just you do have to add your strength bonus to it. It won't do it automatically.
So when I click roll, it asks for an input value?
That will be the modifier. So if it's like a +10 to hit or -10
to
or
hit. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing I don't understand is the 95 experience that we got from the earlier part. What is that used for?
That'll be used at the
very
end.
Yeah.
Yeah, right at the very end.
Okay, so I've missed something then? Okay, good.
Nope, not yet. So you've got your trappings, you've got your hair color, eye color, and stuff like that. Now, let's talk about...
what about armor? Is that...
unless
that
you
would have been listed in your trappings.
Yeah.
Is that a leather jack? Is that what that is?
Leather jack is a armor. Leather jack gives you encumbrance 1 and 1 point of AP to the arms and body.
Leather jack.
Oh boy, Gerhardt, you hit hard with that flail.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Your flail skill's an 88?
Well, I'm plus 44.
Holy shit. That's amazing.
Where do you get your weapon? Where are you taking all this information from?
So on your characters, under your melee specializations, when you select your weapon, it should have your total modifier, which is your like weapon skill.
Kev, did I do that right for the armor?
So, like, if I add my sword?
Yeah, so where your skills are, melee basic. So the characteristics is weapon skill. So on our initial skills that we selected, the first two were weapon skill and ballistic skill.
Right, but where'd you get the stats for your thing?
Oh, they're on page 294 of the
okay.
of the book. That just tells you the base damage of the.
Right, because it said I have a sword under my description. Or my trappings.
Oh, wrong character. Howdy. Yes, that is precisely right, Dave. Good job. Good job.
So, thanks.
Cool. Where did the 88 come from, though?
The what?
Did you add a modifier?
To the armor?
Oh, no, for Gerhardt.
So I have a 44 weapon skill. So I think the 29 is what I rolled.
Yeah, and then it says versus 88. Unless mine's displaying wrong. Next, when I hover over it, it says 44. I don't know. It could be a fuck up in my display.
44 plus floor, which is another 34 plus 10.
So does it flail? Does that roll automatically? Boom. Yeah, that's okay. No, I don't know why it was on mine, Greg. It shows as the first roll you made there was 29 versus 88.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was showing 88, but
You got a great bone. Oh, maybe did you add a plus 44 to your modifier when you rolled?
Oh, I bet you I did.
Do it again. Just see what happens.
Let's just see here. Where's my?
So, what kind of a sword do I have?
it's just a normal, like a long sword. It's the basic weapon. Like I said, it's just basic weapon covers all those, like, you know, this game doesn't model like a mace versus a club versus a long sword versus a whatever. Those things are all just called hand weapons.
Okay, so I don't actually add my number in.
No, it'll automatically calculate that for you.
Okay, so like okay. Yeah,
encumbrance. I need to add all that stuff in. Trappings. Is the number next to your trappings your encumbrance, or is that
on the character sheet?
Yeah.
Probably. Let's see here.
Okay.
Encumbrance.
So if they're listed in my weapons with the encumbrance there, I don't need to list them again.
No, the other things you'll.
But the pouch.
Don't list your armor because I think you listed that under your armor already.
Yeah.
What is SB?
strength bonus.
Strength bonus.
So it's,
Oh, okay.
and I think that sword that you start off with is just like defined as the hand weapon, right? So it's
Right.
strength bonus +4.
So
Well, it might be plus 4 for you.
Well, it's whatever your strength bonus is +4.
What am
yeah.
What do I just put that a number in there, like 39?
It'll be your strength bonus, which is what's your strength?
35.
So it's a 3. So it'll be 3 because it's your. Remember, the bonus for each attribute is equal to the tens digit. That's it. So, like, if you got a 39, it's a 3. If you got a 15, it's a 1. So it'll be 4 plus 1 plus 3 is 7.
7 damage. The weapon.
That's right. Yeah. Now 39. 39 is like.
Well, I didn't know what the damage. I mean,
Yeah.
it could be sure if you have. I don't know.
Okay. So perfect.
So I only hit 1/3 of the time.
That's right. Yeah. There's gonna be situational modifiers as well too, though.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, like I said, your characters are not like you're at the start of your career at this thing, and your stats reflect that.
What do you mean? We're not superheroes like we are in Scarlet Heroes?
Yeah, really. This is going to be a dramatically different experience than Scarlet Heroes. Combat is usually something to avoid if possible in Warhammer because it gets really fucking ugly fast. Okay, so we got next you can do is pick your short-term and long-term ambitions, and then let's talk about what your party's ambitions. How do these misfits come together, guys? How do you think?
Well, I mean, I could say maybe a little bit about what Werner's thinking. Like,
sure.
He's looking for people who he sees potential in and who he thinks could be his allies, who he doesn't think want the spotlight. So people who don't could assist him in gaining a reputation, but don't want to basically share the spotlight with him. They just, they may have their own goals or their own motivations, but fame and the spotlight is not what they're after. So I don't know if either of you, if that fits a little bit with what you guys think about your characters. From what you've said so far, I mean, being a protagonist that wants to blend in with people and someone who's just trying to seek redemption, I don't see that reputation as something that either of them are after.
Nope, not yet.
Right, maybe this could be the beginning, but I'm saying that's where maybe Werner sees the friendship with these two.
I wouldn't mind knocking off a few people and amassing enough wealth to maybe upgrade my stuff, make me more effective in my job.
Right?
Yeah, no reputation at this time.
And what would bring a devout Sigmarite to this group?
I think I got probably thrown off a boat for my views, and they rescued me in the middle of the river.
I was seeking passage across the river, and we were like, "Wait, what's this? A drowned rat?"
That's right. With my tattered robes and my flail.
Nice.
So maybe, yeah. What's your character's name, Dave?
Hari.
Oh yeah, we should change them so that we can.
Oh yeah, right. If you go to the cog on the far right, you can change your display name. Yeah, maybe just put your either your character name first and then your real name in brackets, or the reverse.
There we go. So that I can say, use your characters' names. So Hari. So maybe Hari was arrested for something, and because I'm just like a rookie here in the River Wardens at this point in my career, maybe transporting him or something was a task I was given, and maybe we kind of befriended each other, and I saw a lot more potential in him than just sort of the thuggery that he had been up to. And so maybe I've seen some potential for a team up here.
What if the other two guys were prisoners in your charge, where you all had sort of a conversation around a campfire one night, and you're like, all right, I got a better idea than bringing you to prison. Let's go and do something. Right.
What if the priest convinced us that there's a better way?
Oh yes.
We were listening to the priest, and we were going, "Oh my God, this is gonna. Are you gonna do this all night?" And then finally, it was wearing on us a little bit. I'm like, "Well, he might be right." With a little bit of help from the River Warden, I might have saw a little bit of the light there in some of the things they were saying.
So, Kevin, I just have a question. Am I supposed to be moving in this career as a River Warden, during the game?
You can choose to do
acting that. Okay.
So what will happen is you'll gain XP. And then I think what it is you have to complete your first career. You get to a certain point in your career. Hold on. I don't even know if you have to complete your first career. I think what it is that the XP cost to move into a different career or to move up in yours is determined by how far you've gone. To go up in your career, you do have to get a certain number of advancements before you're eligible to go up. But to go into another one, I think there's just a flat buy-in that is set by how far you've gone in your current profession. So like you as you're gaining experience points, it's going to be kind of like Iron Kingdoms where you're buying like advancements here and there. You're not like hoarding XP and then buying a whole new level. So your character can choose to continue advancing as a River Warden, or he can choose to go and do something completely different.
Right. I'm just trying to figure out, like, is this like, like our party, is this like a side job? Is it my main job? You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to figure out like how much of his life is devoted to one thing or the other.
Completely up to you guys.
Okay.
That's the cool thing with the game, is that like you can choose to continue.
It might depend on what happens, what prompts us. So even if you think, I'm going to be a River Warden, if that's not where the adventure takes us or where we decide to go, then...
Well, no, but we're at the forming phase, and so like how we decide how our party comes together decides right away, I think, a lot for my character, being in a role like, I'm in a group, right? Like I'm almost like a police officer of the river. Mm-hmm. Like I'm either sort of abandoning my career or not at like right from the beginning as we're sort of discussing this.
You don't need to think about like whatever sort of responsibilities and whatnot that you've got as a River Warden. You don't worry about don't think of that as like you need to keep doing that in order to keep advancing.
Okay.
Like
that's what I was getting at. Like, this is
a
career. I mean, I'm starting a career path here. Like, am I a River Warden?
You can think of the profession as more like, or the career or whatever, as more like the things that you're just, because of your background, because of the training you've had, the experience you've had, those are the things that you're going to most naturally excel at.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's not that like, I stopped being, I mean, like it may affect your ability to continue advancing in that career, but in the immediate future, it doesn't mean that you're going to have to start, dumping XP into something else to change to a different profession.
Okay.
So does this mean that you're kind of like Bruce Willis in Striking Distance? You're like going up and down the river, protecting people from bad guys?
Right. Yeah.
Sarah Jessica Parker on your arm.
What an obscure reference.
That's actually what I was thinking before he said it. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, so it costs us 100 X. So if we get 5 advances in our current class, it costs us 100 XP to move to the next tier or to change careers. But if we haven't gotten 5 advances in the current career, it costs us 200 XP to change careers.
Okay, I see.
So you got to get the XP first, and then you can decide what you want to do.
Right.
Really. So personal long term, Rob the Baron of. I need a barony.
Okay. We can figure that out once we, start in the actual game. But if that's what you've got in mind, that's fine.
Yeah, there's a Baron of XYZ who is a bit of a tyrant, and I want to rob the guy's ass.
For the long-term party ambitions too, we can just dictate that stuff once we actually figure out what the actual campaign is going to be about.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then my long-term personal is world renown.
Nice.
And then I guess my short-term personal will just be like local renown, I guess. Right? You got to start somewhere.
Okay.
If I'm starting off a prisoner, does that make this a Bethesda game?
Yeah.
Like we're gonna call it Skyrim, or
it's your hacky DM stealing stuff from video games.
Yeah, that's all right though. Those are some pretty awesome games. Every character in every game is a prisoner starting.
So the next thing is on page 42 are 10 questions, but some of this stuff does require you to have some knowledge of the setting. So we're not going to worry about this so much, but things like, who are your best friends? Why'd you leave home? What was your childhood like? Those are things to think about between now and next session. And we'll start off with you guys kind of doing an introduction of who your characters are, what all these things. We'll deal with these 10 questions then. But mechanically, you guys still have some XP that are left, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm looking at page 43. The table tells you what you can spend those points on. And initially, you can only spend your XP to increase the 3 characteristics, 8 skills, and 4 talents available on your career.
Oh, okay.
So go back to the protagonist.
Or you could Oh, initially that's all you can do. Okay.
Yeah.
I just saw you could get a talent for 100 XP.
What page was that?
But that's like later in the game.
Page 43. No, you could pick a talent. It's just that talent has to come from your career.
Oh, okay.
Like one of the ones you didn't pick. There was 4 that were listed. You picked one of them to start. You could purchase another one for 100.
Right. So we have either 120 or 95 XP currently.
Yep, that's right.
95.
XP cost per advance. Skills cost 10. And then, okay. Oh, it uses up almost all of your points to just advance a characteristic.
It costs 20. Well, you've got how many points? 150?
We have 120.
120. Okay, so yeah, like it would. You could get like 1 talent and plus 1 to 2 skills that are that have 0 to 5.
But unless it mechanically, unless it flips over to a new digit on the characteristics. So like when you go from 39 to 40, it's a huge upgrade, but going from 31 to 33 is not any tangible upgrade at all because all of our modifiers are divided by 10.
Yeah.
Right, whereas advancement in skills does make a difference, more likely.
On a 1-for-1 basis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's the improving your characteristics is a longer term. So if you start off with the 29 or a 28, it might be worth putting 2 points to go to 30. But if you're above 30, it's unlikely that you would get to 40 right away.
Mm-hmm.
So characteristics from 25 to 30?
So it costs us 25 XP to gain 1 point in a characteristic.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the first 5, each of them cost 25, and then the next 5 cost 30 per point.
So if you can get it above 30, then your modifier goes to +3 from +2.
Right. So because I've got like my weapon skill, WS.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is currently at 25, but a talent is boosting it by 5 to 30. So it's really not going to help me much,
right?
To boost that because I'd have to boost it all the way to. I'd have to give it 10 more points, really.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that wouldn't be worth the points. Your strength is not far off, though. You could dump 3. It costs you 75 points, but you could dump 3 into your strength, and that would raise it to 30.
And that would give me a +3 instead of a +2 on my strength attacks.
Yeah, which would raise the damage of your weapons by 1 as well. Because your strength bonus would be up by 1.
And the total of your skill doesn't matter. Like it going from like 39 to 40 doesn't do anything. It just raises by 1.
It's just how many
bonus.
Yeah, it's how many advances you have in it. That's what it costs.
Does this count as 3 advances then?
Does it count as what?
Do I put it in 3 advances?
What do you mean 3 advances?
Like raising
if I'm raising my strength to 27 to 30, do I put the 3 in advances or am I?
Yes, you do. Yeah.
Okay. So then that makes it 30 and I spent 75.
No, you can't afford what?
Yeah. So then you would have 15 left. 15 XP.
What?
Well, because each point for him, he's raising one of his characteristics. He has 0 advances in it. So the first 5 advances cost him 25 points each.
Oh, I thought that was like moving it. If your skill was at 26 and you wanted to go up, it would cost you 90.
No, it's how many advances.
Only how much the advances cost.
Yeah. So like if you've got, say, if you've got a skill right now that you have like 8 advances in, that means then the next point would cost you 30. No, next cost you 15 in the skill.
Right.
Because each from that tier up costs that much.
Yeah.
So a skill advance costs how much then?
10.
Depends on what how many advances you have in it so far.
Right. And 0 to 5 costs 10?
0 to 5 costs 10 each. Yeah.
Okay. So I only have 20 points left. So I can only do 2 skill advances from 0 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm done. Okay, let's go see what I can.
I think you could only afford 1 skill advance, so you'd have 5 XP left over.
Well, I start with 95, right?
Did you start with 95 or 90?
It was 50, 25, and 20.
Yep, the 95, yes. Then you can pick 2 more. What about Greg and Jeff? What are you guys spending your XP on?
Probably skills.
Cool.
Well, I'm spending 100 of my points on 4
One.
advances in fellowship
Nice.
because I want to get to 6 advances total at some point.
These can only go in the ones that we have checkmarked, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Intimidate is. I've spent it all.
Intimidate's one of your class skills
It is.
or your profession skills. Remember, it has to go towards something that's a profession.
I thought it was.
I think Intimidate is. Yeah, let's just double
Yeah,
check.
yeah, it is one of mine.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I put my last 20 points into raising my athletics from a 3 to a 5. Because that costs 20 points.
Nice.
Okay.
Wait, you're
And the reason I did that is eventually I want to take 2 more advances in fellowship because then I'll be at 40 total. To get
sweet.
the extra +1.
So to give you a sense of what like how things will look going forward, when you achieve a short-term goal of your own, you gain 50 XP. When you achieve a long-term goal, you gain 500 XP. And let's see, where is it?
Oh, so is my long-term goal too long-term?
I would take a look at
measurable.
Yeah, look at the description for goals. Like we don't need to do that right now, but between sessions, take a look at what the actual goals are, or their examples of long-term goals, and maybe just try and find that as a tangible, a tangible goal that we can measure when you've actually reached it.
Right.
And we can bank XP too, right?
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I can't actually spend.
You got some left over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. 1.
The math on the experience tab was kind of weird.
The math on the which one?
The experience, like I put current 95 and then spent 75, and it added them together. So I was like, what? So it's
because current's what you got on hand.
Yeah, so you have to like subtract your current and you just have to make sure your current and your spent equal your total that you've acquired.
Yeah, so like when you gain,
just,
like if you played next session, you gained 200 XP, let's say, you would just add that to the gained, and then as you spend that, you'll just adjust those 2 numbers.
Right. But you can't adjust total though. That's just it.
Yeah.
You just add it to your current and then subtract it from It's not logical progression of spreadsheet usage.
Yeah, like so I put 1 point in strength because at some point I'm going to try to get to 40, but it's like going to take forever, right?
It's a lot of XP.
It's a lot of XP.
I was trying to find what you where the XP is so I can give you an idea of what you'll be getting.
The problem I had was I put when I had those advances from before, I put 10 points in 4 skills. So I couldn't improve those because they would have cost me like 40 XP per
I see.
or 20 XP per increase, right?
Yeah.
Because I already had 10 advancements in them.
Okay, so what you can expect, guys, for awarding XP. So in a normal session, I'm assuming you guys are either going to get good or exceptional performance. You'll get between 100 and 125 XP. At the end of an adventure, you'll also get between 150 and 200. And at the end of a campaign, you'll get between 200 and 250. And then you're also going to get an additional 25 to 50 for good role-playing, teamwork, getting the spirit of things. So that will give you an idea. Look, it looks like In an average session, you can figure between about 125 and about 175.
Okay.
So I have a question mechanically. The Berserk charge gives me +1 damage. So
Ooh.
when do I have to then create a separate entry for Berserk charge on my weapon thing and then add my damage, like change my damage from 8 to 9 so that I roll using it so that you can see the modifier?
Are there any other... like, is there a modifier when you use Berserk charge? Do you take a pen?
No, it says I charge like at the target and it gives me +1 damage.
You can set it up as a separate thing if you like. We can just, say, you were using Berserk charge, so we'll just add it, add it on afterwards. There are some sheets in Roll20 that are set up so, like, if I've got a token with stats on it and you just click on it and hit attack, it'll automatically calculate whether you hit and how much damage. This is not one of those sheets.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so whichever one is you prefer. We in a lot of other games that we play on Roll20, we'll often do that, where it's like, if you're wielding 2 weapons, this is the attack one you use. If you're wielding 1 weapon, this is what you'll use. Okay, and I believe that's the last bit of character gen stuff we need to do. You guys have all your things recorded there. Nobody wants to start with mutations, I take it.
Well, I don't know. I could always have an extra arm to hold my flow with.
Yes.
Mutation?
What I say? I worship Sigmar. I'm in Slaanesh.
They both start with S. I don't...
Exactly. One thing to think of too, guys, is if you do a Google image search, you can, if you find pictures or illustrations of your guys, you can feel free to load that image in. Because then we can use those as tokens for the characters. And all right, what else has got to be done here? Did anyone buy anything extra for their character?
I spent all my money.
You're zero?
but I couldn't decide what to buy.
I love that you got one. So how about this? Why don't you guys tell us what would the casual observer see when they see these 3 misfits walk into a tavern? You guys can go. Greg, you go first.
Well, I'm robed in tattered, torn robes, and have a massive weapon that I'm not really sure how I would carry. I guess I just drag it around behind me.
Like a sulking child with their toy.
That's right. It looks like I've been digging in the earth for food. So my hands and I'm just grimy and not particularly. It doesn't look like people would want to come up and talk to me.
But the people, to give like the flagellants aren't all just bad. Devout worshippers of Sigmar, which is pretty much everybody in the Empire, they all see Gerhardt as like a blessed figure, and it's a blessing to give him food and lodging. So if Harry and Werner are a little like canny with it, Gerhardt could be a pretty easy way to get into a lot of homes that you guys otherwise would not be able to get into.
Fabulous.
Does Gerhardt, like, what's his hair? Is he clean shaven?
Oh, no, I have a ragged beard and like a blonde, long, sort of unkempt blonde hair, or blonde hair and blue eyes.
Nice. That's awesome. How about Werner?
Werner would be, I guess he's fairly tall. He's young. He's 20. He's 6'1". He would be wearing his uniform of the River Wardens, and it would be very well kept. He has long hair. He keeps it tied back. He's got a goatee, like a mustache, and a small beard that's all trimmed nicely. Mm-hmm. And he carries himself well.
Okay. And how about Harry? What does Harry look like?
Harry is really tall. He's like 5'11". His brown hair is kind of messy and unkept. It's got a kind of half in a ponytail, but it doesn't really pay much attention to whether or not most of the hair is in there.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a mustache that's fairly full and a bit of a beard, but he doesn't really clean it all that well. He tries, but he's not very good with hygiene.
Okay.
And his teeth are a little brown, but he's working on that.
So one of the things, Greg, we often do we do in all of our campaigns is cast our characters for the movie versions of this. So in the movie version of our campaign, who would be cast as Gerhardt?
Oh, that's challenging. I know the actor that I'm thinking of, but I don't know his actual name. From Battlestar Galactica, Starbuck's sort of Cylon husband.
The tall. Yeah. I know who you mean. The guy who was like rescued from that one planet.
Well, no, not the pyramid player, but the Cylon guy. Remember that was keeping her hostage on their new Caprica? I can look him up here.
Oh, I'm trying to think what he's. Oh, yeah, no, he's that Canadian actor who's in like 1,000. He was in the second season of Jessica Jones, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I don't know his name, but I know exactly who you're talking about. He was in second season of Man in the High Castle as well. He's the guy who's in everything lately. Okay, cool. So that's what your guy looks like with the wild hair. Jeff, who plays Werner in the film version of our campaign?
I'm picturing him as like a Michael Fassbender, maybe kind of look to him.
Yeah. Okay. And Dave, how about who is playing Harry in the movie version of our campaign?
I really want to go with Alex Ponovic from Winnipeg because he's awesome and making a name for himself in the movie world. So he has been in, he's in Van Helsing, the Netflix show. He was in, a couple more shows here. What's In the Name of the King? Alex Ponovic.
Alex Ponovic.
ALEKS PAUNOVIC.
PAUN. Here we go. Alex Ponovic.
Yeah. Guy's from Winnipeg. I recognize him. He's like friends with some of my buddies.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. He plays like that vampire, the evil vampire in it, right?
Yeah. So he's also been in Supernatural. He was in a whole bunch of stuff. So
okay, cool. Yeah, good choice. Good choice.
Yeah. So Alex, it's for you, brother. But so I got a picture of him from In the Name of the King, Two Worlds, 2011. I might change up my character. Maybe he's a little more cleaner.
Sure.
Give Alex a little bit of props here. I'm going to save this image and load it up.
Cool. Yeah, I think I might have. I'm not sure if he. Oh yeah, there's an image in here with him with a beard and whatnot, with what looks like buttons sewed into his beard.
Well, there's one from if you're on IMDb, it's image number 42. I'm going to load it up right now.
Okay, cool. All right, so I think that brings our heroes together for now. So what I'll do, guys, is I'll flip you guys emails as we get closer to session 1 to give you an idea of where we're going to be actually starting. If you have any questions about the characters or anything else that needs to be sorted out, we can deal with that between sessions as well. Before we call it a night, do you guys have any other questions about the characters or any other things you've decided on?
I don't think so.
No?
I'm going to change my motivation slightly because surviving the streets is kind of an ongoing thing.
Yeah, and you know what? None of these things we can we're just learning the game as well. So like as we go, if there's things even mechanically, like if you found that you box yourself into something that you didn't anticipate because of the way the points worked out, you can feel free to change that between now and next session. I'm not terribly fussed with that. Yeah. Then otherwise, sorry, Dave. What was that?
I was going to say there's a picture up now.
Oh, cool. Let's take a look.
I don't know how to share it or.
Ari. If I go to bio and info, yeah, there we go. Boom. So there we go, guys. That's great. That's so cool.
Nice.
He's even wearing like a leather jerkin over top of a Gambazon. So hey,
Yep.
what the heck?
There you go. Cool.
Well, maybe not. It just looks like a halberd. Okay, whatever. It's all good.
Cool. All right. So then I guess that's where we will end session 0. So we've met our heroes for the upcoming Shadows of the Reichland campaign. Though for those listening at home, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, as always, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section of the video, or you can reach me on Twitter at Dungeon Musings. It's plural and all one word. Or you can reach me on Gmail at dungeonmusings@gmail.com. I'll also note that in the description of the video, you'll find a link to the charity fundraising campaign that we're running on the channel. This is something where we've paired up with the very, very great charity SOS Children's Villages International. This is a charity that provides direct benefits and advocacy for kids living in very high need circumstances. If you're interested in learning a little more about SOS Children's Villages International or about the Heroes Save Villages campaign, you can click through that link and you'll learn all about it. There's also a full description of all the different cool rewards we have, which include things like adding an NPC. You can work with me and add an NPC to the campaign with some kind of secret that will either benefit or fuck over the players. You can add smaller benefits as well, too, or up to and including... with a $100 donation, you can have a charity game. I will run a game for you with you and whoever you want to play with for whatever game you want to play. Of course, that's all optional. I don't want anybody to feel obliged to make any contributions, but if you have enjoyed the session, if you enjoy the channel, I just ask that you consider clicking through and learning a little more about the Heroes Save Villages Heroes Save Villages campaign. And finally, certainly not least importance, a big, big thank you to the players for tonight. Guys, thanks so much for joining me tonight and for creating these very cool and intriguing characters. So, Greg, Jeff, Dave, thank you so much for joining me tonight, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for running.
Okay. So with that, then, we will say goodnight to y'all. We hope you've enjoyed. And thanks for watching. And happy gaming, everyone.